So I have a question to ask you guys. Can we talk for a minute? More than a minute. But welcome to my YouTube channel. So, welcome to the Ashley and Media Show. Today I will be starting my novel word series that I mentioned last week, I believe. Just talking about different words from the book Autoscopy that should be released at the end of this month, the beginning of June. And if you haven't seen the previous video to this, then it'll explain a little bit more about Autoscopy and what the book is about and what you can expect and my goals for the book. But with this particular series, I'm going to try to do the entire month of May and do 2 videos each week. I'm a little behind this week, as you can see, because it's already Wednesday. All of the days are running together because of the quarantine. But what I want to do here is really just inspire people through my book. And the best way that I thought I could do that is breaking down different things from my book and relating those theologically and through like literary terms to what we have going on in life today. In the book Autoscopy, purpose is a really big theme. So you have Leilani, who actually lacks purpose in life itself, and she finds out she has this incredible gift to travel through time back to the 1800s where she actually finds purpose, in short. And there are various events that happen that I'm not going to give away for those that plan to purchase the book, which you can pre-order next week. I'm shooting for from Barnes & Noble. Put that in there. Little book right up here. But back to what I was saying. The protagonist, the main character, Leilani Sanders, she lacks purpose, and I'm going to break down kind of the reasons that she does and then relate those to some things that we may be feeling in life in general, especially with all that's going on right now. So why does Leilani lack purpose? Why would anybody lack purpose? Is it that they haven't found their purpose in life? Because I'm of the belief that everybody is here for a specific reason, and things happen for a specific reason. So until you can find that objective and find what that specific reason is, most people tend to kind of float through life rather than actually fulfill what they were really meant to be here to do. And that's the type of stuff that make sad stories. I'm a storyteller, and those really make sad stories, but they also can be inspiring stories in these coming of age novels, like the one that Autoscopy is, mixed with a little science fiction and African American history as well, but with the central theme being someone finding that purpose and being able to actually live that. So a couple of things that I think actually prohibit Leilani from fulfilling her purpose in certain aspects of her life, really present day life more so than when she travels back in time, is that she has this abused mentality to feel worthless. And a lot of the times, if somebody doesn't feel like they're worth anything or they're adding any value for whatever reason, whether people have told them that, whether they just get that perception looking at other people. I mean, you go on social media and see all these people doing great things, or what they actually want to show you. They never show you the hard times. You get this perception that, okay, well, I don't have as much value. If I don't have as much money, if I'm not taking all of these fancy trips that people take, then I don't have as much value as this person. And so you start to become worthless, and in that it can actually shade what your purpose is. So you're so busy looking at what somebody else is doing that you're not fulfilling your purpose or trying to see what your special talent is to really pour into that in order to create something great for the world that only you were meant to create. So that's one thing that Leilani really struggles with. She comes from an really abusive stepfather, and just mental abuse, not a lot of encouragement growing up. She ends up going through foster care in present day, and all of these things are things that may make you feel like just a number or just a person that doesn't really matter, that's just being kind of passed on. And I know that it is people in life and like our reality that face those things as well. One thing that I can kind of tie to today, which is a tad bit confusing to me, if we're talking about, I don't want to get too deep into the coronavirus epidemic because it's just become a political enigma to me. But I will say that if it's about 60,000 people, maybe more than that, because they add to it every day. People that have died, why aren't these people being talked about more? Like, I feel like they're being basically demoted to just a number. Like, it's just a statistic to wow people at this point, but they're not really breaking down these people's lives. I mean, these were spouses, these were mothers, fathers, uncles, grandparents. They died because it affects people of all ages, contrary to popular belief, of all ages and all races, no matter what anybody says. You know, if you're not careful, or even sometimes when you are. I saw someone on Twitter right the other day that his dad did everything right. You know, he was getting groceries ordered in, and he still somehow contracted coronavirus, and he died. And then at the same time, he's looking at people, you know, saying it's a hoax and that it's not real. And until you really experience that and it touches your own family, people kind of just put everything in like this little neat box. So, I mean, there are just different things in life, or different things that may happen that may make you seem like you're losing value, and value will be another themed word in later weeks, or that you're worthless, and that can all lead to you basically not living out your purpose. So it's all really connected, and especially foreseen in the book as well. Also, right to mention is that you can actually be discouraged by someone that you think has power over you from really seeking your purpose. And you have to be really careful out there when you're going to jobs, or you're doing an entrepreneurship, or trying to, as I'm doing, sell a book. Autoscopy there. You just have to be really careful and protective of your craft, and just really know why you're doing it, why this is your purpose, and how you can influence the world with that purpose and do good with that purpose, and just really stick to that. So anytime you get discouraged, or you know, someone that you think has power, everybody makes mistakes. Like, I fall into that sometime where I think that maybe because of a person's position, or you know, their esteem, or you know, how they present themselves, that they're someone of power. But nobody can dictate what your purpose is, and nobody can dictate how you live out your purpose. Only you have that control. And once you know that, stuff really becomes small and really doesn't matter to you anymore. Criticism doesn't really matter to you anymore, because you know what you're put here to do, and you know that by any means necessary you're going to do that. And once you get that determination, there's nothing that can stop you from living out your purpose. Theological definitions of purpose, just based on where it appears in the Bible or in books of theological origin. So the first one is Romans 8:28, which says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose." So that's a purpose of a higher power. So we know that things basically work out well for people that try to do their best to be good people, to be good stewards of the world, to be lights in the world in a dark time. And that's a big thing with me, is I know things are bad, and things are going terrible in some aspects, and people are unemployed, and people are facing furloughs and things of that nature. But I always try to find light in darkness. Meaning, you know, even though 2020 is this, I'm not going to label it as this. Like, I see a lot of people on social media that create these memes, and sometimes they're funny, but sometimes I feel like they're really downtrodden on life in general. Like, 2020 is this, and they make a really bad analogy between 2020. Or they'll say, let's do away with 2020, or things of that nature. But your entire 2020 doesn't have to be defined by 2 or 3 months. And even if things are happening within those months that are difficult, it's really more about how you face those times. And having purpose is the main driver of being able to face adversity, I feel like. So just to keep that in mind. That's kind of what that summarizes to me. The next one is Ecclesiastes 3:1, which states that to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. So when we're saying that everything is a season, I know people like to equate other individuals to seasons. Like, you were in my life for a season. I hear that a lot. But a season can be more than just a person. So seasons are throughout your life. Like, you're gonna have really profitable seasons, you're gonna have bad seasons, you're gonna have lonely seasons. All of that happens in life, but it's just really about, like I was saying earlier, how you face that and how you adapt. Because adaptability is a really big thing with me. Mainly because in my first job, I worked at Regions, and a lot of what we had to do was adaptability. Like, you never knew what was coming at you when you came to work. You never knew what the crisis was going to be. You never knew when something was going to be down. So you basically just had to get in your mind that whatever happens today, I'm going to do my best to adapt to it. And it's not to say that you won't get mad or frustrated, say certain things to people, because that's kind of human. But it's about being able to keep that under control and adapting to the situations that you're placed in, and knowing that this is a season. Like, I think that's what people get bogged down in, and why suicide rates are up and anxiety is really prevalent, because people don't realize that their current state isn't their final state, or it doesn't have to be. It can be if you loathe in it, but I'm the type of person that, okay, well, we addressed the problem, we talked about it, we had meetings about it, let's find some resolutions now to that problem. So I guess I'm more on the practical side, because I'm a Virgo, I don't know. But I think that everybody can really apply that to their life in some way. So on to literary definitions of purpose. So purpose bodes and should answer the question, why am I existing? So I feel like that's a heavy question to ask somebody. It seems like something that they would ask somebody like on The Matrix or something, or one of those movies that is trying to be super deep. But really, why am I existing can mean various things. Like, if I ask somebody why they're existing, they can say that they're existing to be this to a person. Like, that they can think that that's their purpose. Their purpose is to inspire this specific person. Like, I was the one that pushed, like, say somebody's super famous or whatnot, like, let's take a singer or someone that's super famous, and their parent may say, well, my purpose was to have this child, for this child to be this super famous. And that may be a reasoning. Like, I feel like everything happens for a reason, but I also feel like you have a specific purpose that is just a little deeper than that. So when you're answering the question, why am I existing in this world, like, I would outline things that are positive that I do well, as far as even like personality traits or actual actions, or am I an aspiration, do I do work in the community, like, you know, what am I doing in order to get to why am I existing? Because then you can review that list and say, okay, well, what's prevalent, what can I build on? Is this my purpose? Is this why I'm here? Should I be expanding on this more? I'm really good at this. And I feel like once you make those type of outlines, which you can be like, okay, who wants to make an outline, right? I make outlines though. It can be very beneficial to answer a broad question in order to kind of nail down exactly what you're good at, and you're looking at that and it's visual, and so you're able to actually put that visually in your head, and then you can work on living that out. So that's why I picked that one. Purpose, as far as literary terms, can also answer the question, what is my intention or objective? So the best scenario that I can really transpose from this is, so if you've ever taken a college course or you graduated from college, and I think sometimes even in high school, they have syllabus, or at least back in my day they had syllabus, which wasn't that long ago. But they had syllabus, and the first thing on the syllabus, of course, is the name of the course, basically the textbooks or resources that you'll need, and then they have the objective somewhere up there at the top. And the objective is similar to purpose to me, because it outlines why this course is in existence, why it's needed. It outlines what you can learn from it, what they plan for you to learn from it, and you can kind of surmise what you'll actually learn from it, because those may be two different things. But it just gets you prepared for the course, and we don't have that in life unless you do outline, like I was saying. But generally somebody doesn't give us, like when we're born, they don't give us a syllabus and say, hey, this is why you're existing, this is your purpose. So it's up to you to really learn as much as you can about different things, research different, if you're looking at the career path of what is your purpose rather than just a talent wise, or if you want that to bleed into a career path, I think a good thing to do is for people to research different careers, because I always find it fascinating when I find out that someone is doing something and could be doing it in a completely different country, and I didn't even know that job existed. Like, I didn't even know it was possible to do that. Like, recently I had been auditioning for some voiceover roles, because apparently with ebooks, it's certain ebooks that people like read to them or whatever, and they have different voices in them. So it's like a whole website where people can audition to be the voiceover for this ebook. So it's different than a voiceover from like some B-roll or something for the journalism students, or a newscast, but it's actually a voiceover for a character. And I thought that was like one really neat thing that a lot of people probably don't even know about. I actually found that out from a YouTube video, and I don't remember her name, but she talks about different work from home jobs. So it's all kinds of ways to research in today's society. So I think that that's really a valuable tool as far as finding what your purpose specifically is. And don't be ashamed to research or not know. It's better to not know and want to research than just to not know and just be comfortable in not knowing something. Definitely. I talked about some of what Leilani experiences as far as lack of purpose, and I want to dive more into that, but I don't want to divulge too much about the book. I will say that it is some other characters around her that lack purpose as well. Some people sacrifice their life because they feel like their purpose is greater to humanity in the book than them themselves. Like, this is, I know on tons of the superhero movies, a main line is, well, this is bigger than us. Like, so we're gonna go out here and fight and do this and sacrifice our lives because this is bigger than us. And when you think of very historic figures like a Martha King or a Malcolm X or a Huey P. Newton or other civil rights activists, they had to get some sense of knowing that their life was in danger, of course, but they still went out there to do that because they thought that they had what you would consider a higher purpose, which is bigger than their earthly being, I feel like. So I'm a big advocate for things happen for a reason, even though we don't always understand the reasoning. So I was mentioning a short time ago that my aunt actually passed at the beginning of April, and when people pass, you wonder, why now? Why this person, out of all of the people in the world? And you don't really want to hear that things happen for a reason, because at that time it's like, what reason can be that great or that sufficient that somebody's life was taken, and especially a person that is very close to you. But when I think about my aunt's purpose, I think that she lived that out. I think that she lived her life to the fullest extent. I mean, her purpose in her eyes may have been having children that did make her proud with their entrepreneurship, with their talents, and with them just being loving people, because that's just an accomplishment in itself. But also with her job and having been married, and basically being able to plant a seed that could go on for generations. And I feel like once you kind of realize that, okay, this person did really fulfill their purpose in life, and you know, she touched her siblings in a special way. And just talking to my grandmother, which that was her sister, she would tell me things that I didn't even realize, which it was times when she would be down and she would call Aunt Gwen, and she would immediately lift her spirits up. And I didn't even know that the conversations were really as deep as they were, but that was important to her. Like, that was her, apparently her solace of somebody to talk to. So she was living out multiple purposes. And once you realize that, once I realized that, I was at peace with the fact that she was able to be here that long and live that stuff out and see it to the end. So I got a lot of solace in that. And I think with so many deaths from the coronavirus or people dying from various things, really for people to keep that in mind is a great way a great coping mechanism in order to have some form of peace at that time. So one of the last things I'll talk about is nothing is worse than realizing your purpose but being hindered from pursuing it. So there are, I'm sure, lots and tons of people out here who actually know their purpose. So what if I know my purpose, but either I can't make money off of it, I can't flip it, I feel like I have to do something else as a main, and then I can only live on my purpose on the side, so I'm not really being true to that purpose. You'll hear people say various things with that. I feel like it's nothing, like I said, it's nothing that will frustrate you more than knowing that you can do something and not being able to do it. So I think we should take the not being able to do it out of it. Like, even if I'm making no money off this, like, oh, right now I'm making no money off this video, but I'm doing this video because I feel like what I'm saying can help somebody, and in turn that they'll see something greater in themselves from reading my book. But if they, you know, in conjunction with that, then I also have these breakdowns of things from the book that you can apply to your life. So you don't always have to get, I don't want people to always, because to me, money is more a means to an end, and it's different, it varies with some people. And I'm not saying that I don't invest money in things, because we do, and I don't have savings accounts and things of that nature, and really mindful about budgeting money because it's important, but it's a means to an end rather than the focus, I feel like. So I don't feel like people should just do things for money, especially stuff that they're not passionate about or that's not their purpose, because you're flooding the world with things that aren't really helping people. And I'm about really stuff having a purpose, stuff having an objective, you know, and that being shown, and not just being a lot of noise out here. And that's what it ends up being, especially on social media. It's just a whole lot of noise and not really things that are helping people or are positive or influential in a higher way than just, I'm just going to make money off this. I feel like if life fulfillment is lacking, then you become a DIYer, and usually that's a good thing, a do-it-yourselfer. But in my terms, or my acronym for DIYer is a deterrence impeding yourself. That's what you become. You're a deterrence, which you're a hindrance. You're impeding yourself from really being who you are, and you should never let people, situations, anything impede you from being who you are, because you were put here, you were put here for a specific purpose. And even though you may not know that purpose yet, it's still time to discover it. You could be 40, it's still time to discover it. Even though you may know your purpose and you think that you can't do it, you can. At any spare moment, you can work, you know, other jobs that don't feel like it's any less than because you're working another job. As long as you're still determined and working toward, you know, bringing your gift to the world in a positive manner, then you're doing something great, and you should never stop that. Never let anything deter you from doing that, because you'll just become a deterrent, impeding yourself and really impeding the world from having a great gift. Like, you don't know how your purpose can influence the world, and if you never realize your purpose or you never act on it, then you don't know what you're taking from the world. We may be taking inventors, we may be taking good musicians, which I think we are. We may be taking good actors and actresses, we may be taking good teachers, good lawyers, good doctors, you know, because they feel impeded, because they feel like that is something that they can't accomplish, and so they're not pursuing their purpose. So in conclusion, I just want to say, of course, I'm very excited about my book, Autoscopy, and I think you should buy it because everything that I've talked about is in there in some way, just in character format. When I was writing the book, I really wanted to, and when I write, I really have to be really totally by myself and get in a certain zone, because I have to actually be in the moment of the person. Like, back in slavery, I wanted to bring true to life, you know, what was going on, what were the smells, what was the running, what was she stepping on when she was running, when she has a child with her, you know, what was the child thinking, what kind of hopelessness is in this, what kind of hope is in this, what kind of I'm finding purpose in this. You know, I wanted all of that to be seen visually just through words, and so to do that, I have to actually get into each character. I have to become each character as I'm sitting there typing, writing about it. And that's why I'm so excited about the book, because I feel like all of that was fleshed out. I feel like it's some great character development in there. I feel like if this was ever made into a film, hint hint, the cinematography would be off the chain just because of the descriptions that are in there of people, and really diving into the minds of how this person would be thinking at this time and what they would be feeling, and the contrast between today's time and back then is something that I've been working on for 2 or 3 years, and just making sure that that all comes to fruition, and just living out my purpose. My purpose, I believe, is to write, and no matter what reviews I get, or even though I hope that you guys will leave great reviews, especially the 10 influencers that I'm going to be contacting very soon, and the people that I'm sending a press release out to. But if they don't, I don't feel any less like I lived my purpose, because I did what I wanted to do creatively. I put out a good product to inspire people, and I put out a good product to diversify African American storytelling, and that is my goal. As I said in my first video, that I watched an interview where someone basically said that African Americans, they can't be into sci-fi, they can't be into time travel or paradoxes, because they don't see themselves in the future. They just see themselves in whatever detriment is now, whether it's, you know, and there are detriments now. There are, you know, mass incarceration, there is elements of brutality, there's poverty, it's all kind of things, health issues now that are coming to light. There are all kinds of ways that we can analyze African Americans, and they are analyzed every day. But as far as pushing the imagination, encouraging African American youth to push the imagination and know that there are no limitations on what you can think and what you can create, I think that that is really high up on the totem pole as of right now, as far as people being able to see something they can aspire to and say, hey, you know what, I didn't know that was possible, but now I know it is. And I know that anything can be possible if I put enough work ethic into it, if I put purpose-driven actions into it, then I can do it. So that's really what I wanted to get across. That's what I wanted to get across in this video. There will be more videos of me breaking down things. This is just day 1 of Autoscopy. And here's the book again. I'll put more information as far as the links and the Barnes & Noble link where you can purchase the book at and everything. If you have any questions of me, or want to discuss anything about the book coming up, or anything that I said here today, please feel free to write me in the comments, or you can email me at roger0990@yahoo.com, or you can contact me via my website, ashleyandmedia.com. And until then, thanks for watching my video, and tune in to the action show, and I'll see you guys later.